cons on this vaccine issue, but really, people, when you start looking at it, like what Deborah just said about the mercury and the live virus, and I mean, even just common sense will make you question: do I really want to be injecting this into my infant child?
Yeah, and how many newborn babies are having sex or shooting up heroin? And that's what the hepatitis B is for.
There was just an article about that, right? STT
for drug
vaccines
addicts
for
and
infants, exactly. And so they're having this vaccine that is not going to be doing them any good.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So, but so anyway.
But here you've got an interesting Chapter 3 Mark story. Our lives for the past several years. Misdiagnoses, labeling, specialist after specialist, frustration, guilt, blame, worry, crying, vomiting, infections, temper outbursts, a diet of chicken nuggets and pizza, therapy upon therapy, not enough hours in the day, marriage, stress, financial pressure. How many people fit into that one?
Yeah, and that is an amazing story. Debbie Lindgren's son, he had the autism label at 2, and it turned out he had lead poisoning. And the lead poisoning came from dinner dishes that she had purchased at a department store.
Oh, my.
And he's fine now.
Yep, our lives today, correct diagnosis, public school, high IQ, play dates, soccer, basketball, piano, 2 dogs, green beans, peas, pancakes, some therapy, family vacations, happiness, smiles, laughter, and peace. Yeah. Changing the diet, changing the environment, looking for alternatives, holistic methods to cure or to resolve temper tantrum, behavioral issues. It's just amazing. Andy, you go out to eat often enough?
No, I don't. I cook a lot.
Yeah,
at
try
home.
going to a family restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess on my mind was going into public places.
Yeah.
Deborah was talking about schools. The school system should look at changing the way they clean the schools with maybe a friendlier
solvent.
A solvent or any kind of alternative. When we walk into any kind of public environment, we're susceptible to almost anything, are we not?
Oh, absolutely. I have gotten up and walked out of restaurants and away from my table if a part of the wait staff is cleaning the tables with a toxic chemical, and I will just get up and walk away.
I mean, we're talking about walking to your car as cars drive by, toxic fumes and
exhale.
Yes,
I told my kids, exhale. Don't breathe those fumes. Exhale.
And also, it's estimated that 21% of children who are diagnosed with ADHD actually have lead toxicity. 21%. So if a child is showing any neurological issues, they should automatically be tested for heavy metal toxicity.
Well, and we know this, and I've said this before on the show, and now everyone gets to hear me every week saying it. Holy hormones, honey, but that's not what I'm going to say. Toxins and heavy metals are cumulative, summative, and additive.
Yes.
Once they're in your system, they do not leave. In order to get rid of aluminum in your body, any type of aluminum exposure, aluminum foil, aluminum cookware, you have to not be exposed to any aluminum anywhere for 7 years.
But there are interesting ways to detox the body. Infrared saunas have been effective in detoxing heavy metals and chemicals, pesticides, radiation from the body, as well as glutathione IV drips. Between those two, you could do a really great job in detoxing your body. And I also did a homeopathic detox for DDT recently, and I blog about it on my website. If anyone's interested, they can go to victoryoveradhd.com and read about how I did a homeopathic DDT detox. It was an amazing but very powerful detox.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. It's cease therapy, CEASE, and it's a homeopathic remedy that you take. It's actually made from DDT, but for those who don't know a whole lot about homeopathy, you dilute the toxin like 100 trillion billion times until there's only the energy left. They make it into pellets or drops, and you take them. And then when you take the pellets, what happens, and this is where it kind of loses me, but it's like putting like with like, and it literally pushes the toxin out of your body.
And this is available from...
You have to see a homeopath, and Seema Ash was a homeopath that I work with to detox me from DDT, and she's also on my website, so you can read her comments on the blog as well. But and you start at the lowest dose, and you increase it every few weeks. And the first level was 30C, and then you can go up to 200C. And at the 200C level, I had over 100 hives on my body. And that might freak some people out, but what it was is that the remedy was pushing the DDT out of my body.
So, of course, so that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Right, that was initial progression of toxins coming out of your body.
Yes.
Okay.
So it works.
It does. These things do work, and that's what we just need to instill in people, because I'm so concerned for parents whose children are going to be labeled with ADHD, autism, some sort of learning disorder, and
when it's environmental toxicity.
When it's environmental toxicity, but because they do not behave well in school, and the burden that we're placing on our teachers. I don't even know how teachers can teach anymore.
The burden on our teachers and our children.
And our children is huge. I mean, how can you even be effective in a classroom if you've got children that can't pay more than 5 minutes attention to any subject?
Well, I also grew up with ADD, attention deficit disorder, in New Jersey, and I do believe the DDT and my mercury from my amalgam fillings were the contributing causes, and they've also linked DDT and mercury to thyroid disorders. And when I was a teenager, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is a low thyroid. Mm-hmm. And here I had an attention deficit. And in the Lancet report, they say that neurological disorders and thyroid disorders are common with DDT exposure. But what also concerned me, and which made me really jump on the detox with the DDT, is a strong connection between young girls who are exposed to DDT early in life developing breast cancer later in life. So I thought, as far as I know, I don't have breast cancer. So I wanted to make sure that never happened, since I already had two of the other conditions. And now I feel it was reassuring to know that I was getting this horrific chemical out of my body.
So detoxification is going to become the new medical therapy.
Has to be.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Only because now we're, how many generations from, say, the Industrial Revolution, Andy? Let's make a wild guess. 1920s, 1930s, 1900s anyway, so 100 years, 100 plus years.
At least,
so how many generations of that were now these toxins? And even in Europe, coal, lead, mining.
Let's take it another.
Let's take it back another 200 years. That all of these things are building up in our body. Dr. Marchese, who's going to be my guest on September 9th, who's written this book, 8 Weeks to Women's Wellness, says that the average person can store hundreds of chemicals in the body. Those chemicals are being passed down to our offspring. Mm-hmm. Those chemicals are affecting us, certainly with the high rates of Alzheimer's and neurological problems as we get older, and it's something that we need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, and when my twins were in 5th grade, they were tested for heavy metals, and mercury and lead and cadmium were present, which all those chemicals do contribute to ADHD and autism. So.
And they're even linking high mercury levels to addictions as the possible trigger between someone who can go out and have a couple of beers and then somebody who keeps drinking for the rest of the night until they pass out, who can't stop.
Right.
All right. That it's not something that's wrong with anybody other than there is a severe imbalance within the body.
And usually what we're most addicted to, we're actually allergic to.
Oh, no.